Today is February 6, 2021. I'm BrentNally, and I'm really excited to be here with the co-chair of HEALS, which stands for the Healthy Life Extension Society, Didier Coeurnelle. Didier, thanks for being here.
Hello, Brent. Great for me to be there to speak with somebody working with Lifespan.io and so enthusiastic for longevity. Yeah.
Definitely. And you have been a longtime longevity enthusiast as well. You're based in Belgium, and you tie into a really exciting story. At least a lot of people in the life extension community are excited about this story right now. But you're actually a little bit of a skeptic of some of this research. And that's why you've made two donations of $25,000 each, which we'll get into recently, to see if we'll close the doors on this therapeutic research that's been going on at Yuvon Research with Harold Katcher, or if maybe we will extend the life of rats longer than ever before. So we'll get into this story a little bit. And I want to let the audience know that I'm currently in email communication with Dr. Harold Katcher, trying to set up an interview. He's just moved to the San Francisco Bay Area in Mountain View, California, right where SENS is located, Aubrey de Grey's company that Aubrey de Grey is the chief scientific officer and co-founder of. And Harold just has to get an apartment. He's had a little bit of trouble getting an apartment and getting reliable internet access. So as soon as that's worked out, we will continue this story even further with Dr. Harold Katcher. And I've personally enjoyed the Modern Healthspan YouTube channel. Subscribe to their channel, hit the notification bell. I'll have a link in the description below, where Richard has been doing some great interviews on Harold Katcher. So I've watched those. I've read the preprint paper, as of course Didier has as well too. So I'm really trying to familiarize myself with all the details of this story. Comment below with your comments, feedback on anything that we're talking about here. And then there's an exciting event coming up on February 11th, 2021, that Didier and HEALS is hosting, where we're going to have longevity enthusiasts and scientists all kind of bringing this story together even more. So Didier, the floor is yours. Why don't you talk a little bit about this event? And we'll have a link below in the description and in the pinned comment in the YouTube on how to register for this event. So Didier, the floor is yours.
Yes, so this event, like you said, is February 11, very soon. There will be one, let's say, classical part for Zoom conferences with people speaking. The first part, people speaking about clinical tests on mice and rats, animals in general. Second part, clinical trials on humans with some well-known people like Liz Parrish, who is kind of a very very well-known person, and we're also with possibility for controversies, let's say, so it will be great. And then a third part about from mice to humans and all political, social, and scientific aspects, how to use this research. That's the first part of the conference. And after that, we will try to have 3 work groups, one on each team, to have at the end of these working groups, to have at the end kind of a text with a few proposals useful for the longevist community. More precisely, to have a few proposals, and the proposals will be finalized the next day in a small group again.
Okay, that's really exciting. I am registered and I'm looking forward to joining that event. Again, February 11th, 2021. So in a few days here, 5 days from now. Check the link in the description below and the YouTube pinned comment at the top to register. So Didier, let's talk a little bit about Harold Katcher in particular and his co-founder at Yuvon Research. And why did you make this $25,000 donation to Yuvon Research, and then also to the lab of Dr. Rodolfo Goya, who I've been in email communication with the last 2 days? His lab is down in Argentina. You made a $25,000 donation to each of them. Why did you do that?
So, as you know, and as most people listening to this podcast will know, there are very, very promising experiments with blood, with plasma, and rats. These very promising experiments, the result is that the rats, when they have injections, they have really very good signs of let's say, better health, of rejuvenation. But there was something that was not done by Harold Katcher and also by the Conboys, who are also making experiments. There was something that was not done, and for me that's really the biggest and the most important point, is to measure longevity. So one of the positive points concerning mice and rats is they have short lives. They live a maximum of about 4 years, and it's possible to find rats who are already 2 years old. So if you start an experiment with rats who are 2 years old, and you take two groups of rats, one with a treatment and one without a treatment, if the very promising results are confirmed, these rats, these treated rats, will live longer. And the conviction of Harold is even that they will live maybe 5, 6 or more years. My opinion is that probably there will be one effect. Hopefully this will be a positive effect, but maybe not. Okay, but if Harold is right and if I'm wrong, I will be very happy. You know, I said if we have at least 2 or 3 of the 8 treated rats who are becoming older than 4 years, and if there is one rat becoming more than 4 years and 6 months, I will open champagne, you know.
Champagne.
Champagne. Yes. Okay. So like you said, I was proposing this to Harold Katcher. To be honest, I was thinking he would refuse. So the fact that he was accepting this and accepting to have the results public, whatever they are, it's very positive. It's very positive, and once again, I think the results will not be beautiful, but I hope I'm wrong. And then I was also in contact with Aubrey de Grey, asking him his feeling about this, and he told me, yeah, try. And also, you could contact Rodolfo Goya. I didn't know about this guy before, and Rodolfo Goya is a very serious researcher. Living in Argentina, and who happens to have old rats, 24 months old rats, and these rats were normally for an experiment who had to stop for one part. So it was perfect. We decided to make a plasma transfusion coming from blood from young rats, and to see the results. Sadly, I can already tell that 2 of the treated rats died, and also 2 of the untreated rats. So at the moment, there is no difference between treated rats and untreated rats. One untreated rat will die very soon, probably, but okay, the difference is not real at the moment. Be careful. The treatment for these rats from Rodolfo Goya and the treatment for the rats from Harold Katcher and the people working with him is not the same. For Harold Katcher, it's a treatment. He doesn't want to say exactly what it is. He wants to have it patented. For Rodolfo Goya, is just the plasma coming from young rats.
And Harold Katcher and his co-founder of Yuvon Research, Akshay Sanghavi, they call it Elixir, is what they're calling.
Yes. The product, they call it Elixir.
But we don't know what's in it. It's proprietary.
And we don't know what's in it.
And there's been a lot of, rightfully so, criticism in the longevity community for that. So we want to point that out and make sure we're being transparent about that. But at the same time, you know, these people are privately doing this research with their own money and resources. And I think that they're, you know, I'll take them at their word, because I don't see any reason not to, that, you know, they're very positive and optimistic about what they've been doing. So they want to, you know, try and continue to fund this research, and so they're trying to patent it. So that's
you know, probably my main critique was, yeah, why don't you try to see if it's working? Why did you kill all rats after the experiment? You know, but of course you need to kill them to know precisely what is the metabolism. Okay, but to keep them alive, then you would know. And so, but since he accepted to do this, I'm very happy. And once again, we will see. And I was also proposing kind of the same thing to Irina and Michael Conboy, who are also doing very, very promising experiments. This time is with albumin and salt water. So they replace a part of the blood by this, and they have also beautiful results. But they were not willing to do it. I will try again, you know, maybe they will be convinced to do it. I hope he also.
Yeah, and so I can just kind of piggyback on that, Didier, and share a few more details. So Didier was just referring to doctors Michael and Irina Conboy. They're brilliant scientists at University of California, Berkeley, who've been doing phenomenal work for decades, and they're a married couple. And on Leaf's YouTube channel, the Journal Club, just about a week ago, Steve Hill stepped in for Oliver and ran a journal club where they presented this research that Didier was just speaking about. I'll have a link in the description below and also pinned in the top comment if you want to watch that journal club. They also, you know, have their paper that I suggest that you read to learn more. And one thing that I learned from that is that Dr. Dobri Kiprov in San Francisco actually is now doing human clinical trials on people. And I had a Zoom call with Dobri a few days ago, and he's got a YouTube channel. I'll share his links to that. I mean, he's doing a clinical trial. He's doing two. He's doing one for Alzheimer's and one for just longevity. And the testimonials of these people so far who have undergone this plasma dilution therapy that's been, you know, pioneered from the Conboy's lab, the testimonials have been incredible so far, just to be quite frank. And so I'll have the links in there. So the thing is, as Didier just said, with the Conboys and the rats, they diluted the plasma and then they put back in salt water and also albumin. And the same for Dobri's clinical trial on humans. He's not saying exactly in the videos, and I haven't learned yet what they're putting back in. They're using a proprietary something, but then 5% albumin. So I really want to know from Dobri, you know, are you putting salt water just like the Conboys, or are you doing something else? So that's really important. But same thing as like we talked about earlier with Harold Katcher. You know, Dobri could potentially want to keep that proprietary, in other words, secret, for whatever reasons having to do with money or lawsuits or all sorts of reasons. But in the longevity community, we want to know, like, what are you actually doing? What are you putting?
Yeah, of course.
So do you have any insight there, Didier, on Dobri?
No, I knew they were going to start. I didn't know it was already started. To be honest, I'm kind of surprised. You know, very often it's almost impossible to start clinical trials. I know that with blood products, because it's not, it's kind of easier to have authorization, but still, it's going on in the US. Okay, so they had
Dobri is in San Francisco, is where he lives. And I believe he said that the clinical trial is going on in a couple locations in the US. I could be wrong on that. So fact check me on that, internet. And I will have a link to 3 short videos on Dobri's YouTube channel. They don't have many views. This has not really been promoted. I had to meet with Dobri on Zoom and then have him share this information with me. I did a lot of research on this a few days ago. So check the description below, check the YouTube pinned comment. I'll have links to those short videos where folks can learn more about that.
Yeah. So, and how many, I suppose it's only, well, volunteers, of course, but I mean, it's there is no test group. That's not useful. Be careful. You know, placebo effect is placebo effect and nocebo effect are always very powerful, especially the first weeks and the first months. if I say, oh, you just took poison, you will feel sick. If I say I give you a product and you are sure, or you really think it's a good product, you will feel better. And of course, also the probability that this is good on the short term is, well, let's say it's almost certain. It's on the long term that it's also important. In the long term, of course, for humans, and I would say, hopefully, we will not know before long for these people. But yeah, the difference is with the rats, we will know in maximum 2 years. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So
And,
just to recap.
sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, and that's great that these two experiments are going parallel. But I don't understand, to be honest, I don't understand that these people who are volunteers don't ask, yeah, please try first with rats. I don't get it. You know, sometimes it's like if let's say the human community is too shy, but some longevists are really not shy enough sometimes, maybe. I don't know. Well, transfusion is not something new. Bloodletting does exist since thousands of years, so it's not something very dangerous, but still.
Yeah, definitely. So just to recap a few things, maybe I can get Dobri to do an interview with me so that we can dive deeper into the story and learn more details. This is just from my research, what I stated there. And then to kind of get back to, the main story here with Harold Katcher and the Elixir treatment. So one thing I've noticed, Didier, is with your accent, I think you've been saying Dr. Rodolfo Goya, right? That's how
Yes.
I pronounce it. He's down in Argentina. He's a brilliant longevity scientist, and so you have funded his lab with $25,000, but they're not using the elixir. They're doing something.
No, they are doing it's a plasma of young rats, no elixir.
Right. And you said that already, so that they started this up in, was it December or November of 2020?
It's 2 or 3 months ago, probably, let me think, 2, 3, 4 months ago. And already, like I said, four of the, there were nine rats in the treated groups, 9 rats in the treated group and 8 rats in the untreated group. And already 4 of the rats died.
2 in each group, is that right?
2 in each group. And a third untreated rat will probably die soon.
Right, because these rats were 25 months old.
Yes, they were already quite old.
Yeah, I believe, I'm going off memory here, I believe the study in Argentina led by Dr. Rodolfo Goya started in December 2020. And I think the $25,000 study that you funded with Yuvon Research and Harold Katcher started in November 2020. If I'm going
well, actually, the with the Katcher, they really started. I know that only since yesterday. They really were starting in January.
Okay.
They received 24 months old rats, and they are now really starting.
Okay, great. So thanks for updating there. So this story is just, there's a lot of moving parts here. So thanks for clarifying that. And these are Sprague Dawley rats. So on average, they live about 2.5 to 3.8 years at most. So 3.8 years is the most that they've ever been scientifically, objectively documented to live. So that's kind of like the equivalent of 122.5 years for human years, roughly speaking. Right?
Surprisingly, because rats and mice are the lab animals, of course, and longevity studies is something that we have already since many years. But surprisingly, there are not many statistics concerning the maximal lifespan of rats. Not many things. So when you Google, and even if you are really reading the scientific articles about that, you don't have so much. Okay, but for rats, like for humans, females or women live longer, and in this case it's only female rats, so they will statistically live a little bit longer, but we don't know exactly. yeah, well, once again, when you Google, when you try to find information online, you don't find something so much about the maximal lifespan, but it's about 4 years. Yes, there is a story about one rat in the Guinness Book of 7 years, but very, very probably it's a fake one. Yeah.
Right. So we can say with very high levels of confidence and conviction that if either of these studies that you've funded for $25,000 each, whether it's Harold Katcher's study or Raphael Goya's study, and the purpose of these is to see their maximum lifespan. If they get past 4 years, this is going
Yes.
to be a big story. And since they started
Yes.
off a month or 2 or 3 ago from where we are right now in February 2021, since they started off the rats at about 25 months old already, so they're already about approximately a little over 2 years. We're going to know the results of this. We're going to have something either 2 years or sooner, because they're either going to still, some of the rats are either going to still be alive 2 years from now, and that will put them over 4 years, or they're all going to die, and we can do, how you like to say it, Didier, closed doors. We can kind of close the doors on this research and this story, and then focus on other things. So that's the main purpose of you putting up your own personal money, $50,000 total, is to kind of maybe close doors, or if you're wrong, then maybe you'll help us open a door, right?
Yes, yes. You know, even if it is, well, even if there was only one chance for 10,000, it's worth it. You know, $50,000 is not. Well, for me, it's not something, nothing, of course, but yeah, it's not more expensive than a big car, and I don't have a car. I only use public transportation, so you know.
Didier, I think right there is a great moment. It's an opportunity to segue into a little bit more about you. You know, everybody's focused on the science and everything, but we need people like you to do incredible things like this, potentially incredible things. So first of all, thank you so much for doing this. Can you talk a little bit more about yourself, your history of, interest in longevity, and some of the work that you guys are doing at Heals, how you guys came up with this conference, this online conference that folks should register now, that's February 11th, 2021, that we've already talked about, and anything else that you think is relevant, your overall thoughts on aging, why it's important to slow, stop, and reverse human aging, anything in that category. I think the audience would really like to know.
Yeah, so a little bit about my own story. So I'm 58 years old. I'm a kind of, let's say, a left-wing person. So I've always been active in the social movement, also in the green movement since 30 years. And I always gave a big part of my income to fight against hunger in the world, you know, people dying of hunger. And one day, about 12 years ago, I was asking myself, I was also always thinking, okay, I want to fight so that people have enough to eat, and also so that people can avoid diseases, but diseases who are easy to stop, let's say. And then I was asking myself, which diseases are killing the most people, and how can you stop these diseases? And then I discovered that there were some people like Aubrey de Grey who were thinking, we should stop diseases related to old age. And I learned, I learned that 2/3 of the people at this time, because now it's more 70% of the people, or even more, are dying of diseases related to old age. I heard that Aubrey de Grey was trying to change this, that other people were trying to change this, that there was the transhumanist movement on this. So the first thing I did, it was inviting Aubrey de Grey, who was not so well known 10 or 12 years ago, to a conference in Brussels. And then I met the person who is still working with me, Sven Bultereis. You know, Belgium is this funny country where you have two official languages, French and Dutch, and we speak together English. So we created these organizations, Healthy Life Extension Society. We organized conferences. Each 2 years there is a big conference, Euro Symposium on Healthy Aging. It was organized in Brussels. It was not very big, but a big conference, in real life. But with the COVID-19, situations change, and things are at the same time more complicated, but also more easy, because organizing conferences with Zoom, you can organize it in a few weeks. I also noticed that, Nir Barzilai, for example, probably the most, one of the best known scientists, and certainly the person concerning metformin use, was already coming to one of these conferences. And also my idea, let's say, for this the conferences that I'm trying to organize now, my idea is great to have all these conferences concerning longevity, but it's kind of exchange of opinions only, and not trying to have really conclusions of the conferences. So that's why I'm organizing now work groups, and I will even propose, but I'm not sure he will accept because his agenda is very full. But I will propose to Aubrey de Grey to chair one of these working groups. I hope he will be. I'm sure, because I know him. It's really the greatest guy for longevity. If he's free, he will come. Well, if he has something in his agenda, he will not come.
Incredible. Yeah. Aubrey de Grey is a spectacular person who has really pioneered in this movement over the last 2 decades. And he's getting a little bit more well-known from more of a mainstream perspective, but we still haven't really broken through there. I think personally, the longevity community has really missed a big opportunity in the last year with COVID-19 to kind of really let the world know that aging is the foremost risk factor for morbidity and mortality for COVID.
Yeah, we tried.
We knew this. Yeah, we tried. But the word hasn't gotten out well enough in the mainstream. Why do you think that is, Didier?
Yeah, I don't know. We try to. I was writing articles about this. I was saying, okay, this is really a disease related to old age. People like Aubrey de Grey said that. Let's say everybody in the longevist community was saying that. But yeah, for some people don't get it. People don't get it. I would say, okay, on the positive side, this COVID-19 disease is the first time in the history of humanity that it's so important to save old people.
Yeah.
You know, because old people are almost the only people to die. Well, they are not the only people to suffer, but they are almost the only people to die. So
overwhelmingly.
You know, the average age of people dying of the COVID-19 in Germany, for example, is 81 years. So,
which is higher than the life expectancy in Germany.
Well, but it's higher than the life expectancy. Yes. In France, 1 centenarian, 1/6 of the centenarians died of COVID already. So,
and the frustrating irony here, Didier, is that our life extension community, we're trying to educate people about all this science and where we are and how we could be very close to really meaningfully slowing, stopping, and reversing biological aging in humans and extending healthy human lifespan. And so the general public and governments seem to be very ignorant of this or ignoring it or both. And it's just so frustrating because now COVID's taken the whole limelight as everything people are obsessed over. And it's like, well, we don't really, I've been telling people, we don't really have a COVID-19 pandemic. We have an aging pandemic that's being exposed by COVID-19.
Yeah.
Because we've never had this many people alive on the planet before. And on top of that, we've never had this many people this elderly, just from a chronological age, alive before. Yeah. So we're in a very unique environment that's never been seen in human history, right?
Yeah, we agree, of course. I would say.
Yeah.
Okay. But like I said, the positive side is, okay, there was this mobilization to protect all people at the end of the day. This is beautiful. To be honest, there is also a less positive side. That's okay. At the moment, we are still not able to stop this disease. And I would say, before the COVID-19, my idea was, if you have money, if you have scientists and if you have the will, you will change all things related to health very fast. I must admit that it was not enough for the COVID. You had money, you had the will of people, you had very clever people, and still we don't have solutions. Yes, so this is one of my way to think, but I think it's worth a discussion, but a discussion outside of this discussion. I think one of the problems is what I call the trash in, trash out problem. So we have more data than ever. We have more computer data than ever, especially concerning COVID-19. You Google, you can know everything. But the problem is that you don't know everything. You know, biased everything, you know. I will give you one example in my country. In my country, during the first weeks, you know that there are many people dying in Belgium, and it's one of the worst countries. During the first weeks, they were always saying, okay, 50% of the COVID-19 victims die at home, 50% die in the hospital. And I was always wondering, what's that? And actually, they were not dying at home. They were dying in retirement houses. And they were, 60, the first wave, 60% of the people dying, about 60% of the people dying were dying in retirement houses. You know, and they were not saying in retirement houses, they were saying at home.
Right.
Okay. That's one of example where, I will also give you another totally other example. I have an Apple Watch. That's not an advertisement. That's a contra advertisement, because I use it, among other things, to have my heart rate. You know. Okay, but just 2 days ago, I was going to the medical doctor, and I noticed that the information there actually is not correct. So many statistical information that we have is kind of biased, not correct, and this is maybe one of the problems for the scientific community. And I don't know, I don't understand, because, well, I suppose that you're also a lot interested in artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is working beautifully. Also to correct things, I don't know, for voice recognition, to correct when you are typing something, but not working very good to correct mistakes in the medical fields. I don't understand, but I think that's part of the problem.
I think it's definitely part of the problem. So to me, to summarize what you're saying is there's misinformation and there's disinformation as well too. There are entities who are purposely spreading false information.
Yeah, here I was also only speaking about misinformation. Of course, disinformation is also a problem.
So let's move away from COVID-19 and let's focus more on Harold. So just to be clear, Harold Katcher, I'm in email communication with him. As soon as he's ready to do an interview, I'm ready to interview him and get some more information out of Harold. We have the Great Heals Conference that's coming up February 11th, so definitely check that out. I know what you're talking about there, Didier, about AI. So yeah, we've on my longevity channel, I'll put a link in the description below. We've interviewed Peter Voss, who's been a pioneer for advocating for AGI, which is artificial general intelligence. I've also interviewed Ben Goertzel here on this channel, who's also an AGI pioneer, at least as far as, you know, terming the name and advocating for it. And I think AI is really important. And just to plug Lifespan News real quick, the show that I'm a host of in partnership with LEAF, the Life Extension Advocacy Foundation, run by Lifespan.io. We have reported on Google's DeepMind creating AlphaFold, which is really exciting, from a few months ago in late 2020, where Google's DeepMind that created AlphaGo and beat the best Go player on the planet in 2016. They took that technology and they put it towards the protein folding problem, which has been a problem for decades. And there's been a biannual conference since 1994 that's offered a reward, a competition for anybody who can solve the protein folding problem. And AlphaFold created by DeepMind just crushed everybody. They won the contest. So this is really exciting because this could not only could this protein folding from AlphaFold help us solve the human aging problem, but probably more importantly, what this technology that DeepMind has created could be extrapolated and put to work to other problems that could help us solve the human aging problem. So I am extremely excited about AI, AGI, whatever you want to call it, machine learning, computers being used intelligently to help us solve the human aging problem and hopefully bring the end to, the suffering that goes on every day. About 110,000 people are dying from aging or age-related diseases. So, the number one age-related disease is heart disease, then cancer, then all down the list. So we could actually put an end to these things. And remember, it's not just like these people die one day. There's years, if not decades, of suffering mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, strains on their family. We're putting all of our old people, most of them in retirement homes or, old people homes. My wife's grandmother is 96. She's in her last year has not been fun with COVID. She's basically been locked up like a prisoner. Let's be honest about it. So we have, these are new challenges in our community and in our global community. And, I really just commend people like you, Didier, who's really focused on using every mental, physical, and now financial resources to try and help us solve this problem. So I personally really commend you, and I'm honored to, have got to develop a relationship with you recently. So thank you for your work.
First, the conference of February 11 is also organized with the International Longevity Alliance. I'm also a member of this organization. I'm also a member of the board of Humanity Plus, where Ben Goertzel is working. On February 11, normally Harold will be there also. Will be one of the speakers. So you will have already an opportunity to speak to him. And concerning artificial intelligence and general AGI, I think also, as far as all medical progress, I don't have any all medical progress and longevity progress. For me, it's globally positive, and there is no discussion about this. General artificial intelligence, there are also big risks. So it's a big hope, but also there are also big questions related to this. But this would be another question. But I don't know if you define yourself as a transhumanist, but many of us define ourselves. And in the transhumanist community, there are people saying it's dangerous, and there are people saying no, it's not dangerous. I'm somewhere between the two. It could be very dangerous, and it could be great. I totally share the opinion about Nick Bostrom is also one of the people who was bringing me to this subject. So I spoke about Aubrey de Grey, but also Nick Bostrom. And yeah, he's also the specialist of the risk of artificial intelligence. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, I'm definitely consider myself a transhumanist. I'm a fan of Nick Bostrom and his work. And I also agree with what you stated there that I'm excited about AGI or AI and the possibilities that it has to do incredible things for this planet, like curing aging, helping us solve the climate crisis and many other problems on this planet. Artificial intelligence can help us save over 3,000 people every single day that die in automobile accidents all around the world. I've been a Tesla investor since 2012 because I think that they have the best strategy to solve this problem, and I think they'll be solving it within a few years. But at the same time, I recognize that technology can be used for good or for bad, and that these technologies could get out of hand and that they could make reality a much worse place for all of us. So we need to be very careful and intelligent with artificial intelligence.
Thanks.
Yeah. So I just want to plug real quick. I've been working hard the last few months on a company called Longevity Plan. We're in early beta right now, just releasing it to some friends and family and longevity enthusiasts. And since that's the majority of people watching this channel, I'll have a link below to that description. Check it out, share free feedback. It's really easy to sign up. It just takes a moment. And Aubrey de Grey is actually on our scientific advisory board. He's given us some great advice, and we really appreciate that. Keith Comido, the co-founder and president of LEAF, Life Extension Advocacy Foundation, is also one of our co-founders. And so we, we're trying to help solve the human aging problem. Our mission is to is to show you the value of a healthy life and how to help you achieve that. So go ahead and check it out, but keep in mind, we're just getting started. We have a partnership also with Ageless RX. So if you're in the United States of America, one of the 50 states, and you would like to get access to metformin, which is currently still a prescription medication, you can go to our website. There's a hyperlink in there to metformin and some of Ageless RX's other products that they offer. So just a quick plug on that. I'll have a link in the description below. Just trying to do everything that we can to solve the human aging problem. I'll also just say one thing that I really like from Bill Falloon that he does in his weekly, in his monthly updates on Church of Perpetual Life YouTube channel, is he kind of, in a way, he shames these billionaires who recently died. You know, they're worth $2 billion. Or Sheldon Adelson just died a few weeks ago. He was worth like $34 billion or something. The founder of the Las Vegas Sands global gambling casino. He's dead now. So he did nothing to solve the human aging problem that I'm aware of. So now he's not worth 34 billion, or I think he was worth 50 billion before the Las Vegas Sands publicly traded stock went down a lot because people weren't going into casinos because of COVID. But the point is, he's worth $0 now because he's dead. So I just a call to the billionaires of the world, the big money, the wealthiest people on the planet and big governments, really consider, donating or funding longevity, any type of longevity initiative, whether it's one of these companies like Heals, our company. If you want to invest, get in contact with me. Aubrey de Grey's company, Sends, you can donate there. Life Extension Advocacy Foundation, Humanity Plus, who we've mentioned, the longevity, the International Longevity Alliance, on and on and on. There's so many great institutions that we can invest in to help this become reality, because we're trying to solve the hardest problem on the planet, and we're getting closer. And so just a real quick kind of plug to people to really think about this. And if you don't have money, then think of other ways that you can get involved.
I think,
yeah, go ahead.
If I may add, yes, I think, it's great when billionaires are working on these questions. Sadly, like you say, they don't work so much, except a few of them. But it's for me, it's even more important that the public authorities are working more on this. And the European level, so I'm from Brussels, the European capital, the European level could be the best place. They are in my multicultural city, Brussels. There are many people in the medical field. There are many people in the scientific field. There are many people in the political fields concerning aging. And yes, they don't. It's like you don't want to think about old age, so you don't want. You prefer. We should fight. We should focalize on this, but in place of this, we try to forget it, and we try to make let's say, senescence a positive thing. And well, okay, it's good that we are making this a positive thing as long as we die of old age, as long as we cannot escape it. But it's also important to try to progress very fast. Yeah, and public institutions should do that. It's useful because of let's say, because of suffering. It's also very positive concerning all the economical aspects. So yeah, that's it.
Definitely. And so Didier, thank you again for your, 2 recent $25,000 donations to potentially help us open the floodgates. Because if these stories become more popular and they get mainstream press, then
yes,
we could be very close to the floodgates opening here with longevity research and big funding from governments coming in. We have shift of power in America with Biden, being the president now, and who knows what changes could come there from the NIH, the National Institute of Health in America. and then the NIA, the National Institute of Aging, being, you know, one of the many alphabet soup agencies underneath NIH. So.
And yeah, if you think to giving money, I would say don't give me, give to sense. But also, if you want to make some kind of experiment similar and to support people, we have now two scientists working for Hills, Virginie Stephen and Marion Stenaker. And Marion is in internship following this experiment for 6 months. So please don't hesitate to take contact, and we could find together other ways to promote other tests, because yeah, like you said, I think there are many things that we could try. I would say if you come to me, there is only one condition, but this is a very precise condition, is you engage yourself to publish the results. Even if they are bad, you know, because that's one of the problems of medical science for longevity. When the results are good, they're published. When the results are bad, they are not published, and so people try it again.
Exactly. I agree. So real quick, Didier, before we finish up, I'd love to get back to, you know, Harold Katcher. I watched all 4 parts of the interview on Modern Healthspan. Again, there'll be a link in the description below. Richard is running a great YouTube channel about longevity, and he recently interviewed Harold. So maybe if you're watching this, you know, in February 2021, and check out the interview with Harold on Modern Healthspan first, to kind of get your knowledge to the point to where the interview that I'll hopefully do with Harold soon will make more sense. But on that note, we should talk about Harold, and also from private email communication that I've had with Dr. Rodolfo Goya. They seem to be convinced that the research that Yuvon Research and Harold Katcher have done is showing that aging is programmed, right? So there's been this long debate: is aging programmed or not? And you know, Aubrey de Grey and many other longevity scientists have been saying that aging is simply the accumulation of molecular damage. And Aubrey de Grey has had his 7 things, and now we have the 9 hallmarks of aging. So what are your personal opinions on this particular work, you know, that Harold Katcher has done? And then in general, how does that relate to aging either being programmed or not, or maybe a combination of the both?
For me, you know, I would say program is maybe, aging is program is maybe too much, but I mean, what is absolutely sure is that natural selection is choosing to have most animals and all vertebrates and certainly all mammals to die of old age. So if there was, and probably it's because we need kind of, how do you say that? We need diversity, you know, like sexual reproduction and dying of old age is necessary to maintain diversity in the DNA. And that's why. So programmed, yes, maybe it's programmed, but anyway, the natural selection was never making it that animals live forever. And that's, for me, that's kind of a mystery, because in some circumstances, like, you know, animals in caves, the environment is very stable. So normally the natural selection could choose to keep always the same animals living forever, but still they are dying of old age after 100 to 100 years. So there is a kind of a mystery. And also, even the animals and the plants who don't age, they don't, the probability to die the next year is not higher. They still die of old age in a way, because, for example, lobsters, they don't die of old age, but they still die because they grow slowly, and at one moment it's too big, you know.
Yeah, so they'll eventually,
not too big to die, but the contrary.
They can die from predation or starvation because they're too big, right? So they don't die directly from aging, but
yes.
But there
okay. And if I can just finish, even the trees, it seems, I was thinking until a few, let's say months ago, that there were trees never dying of old age. But actually it seems that there are some trees, they grow like 1 millimeter a year. But still, after 6,000 years, they die because they are they finish their growth. You know, that's very, very a lot longer, but they're still dying.
Yeah, 6,000 years is still just the blink of an eye in the 13
Yeah,
billion
but
years.
it should be enough. It would be enough for me for, well, I mean, if we can find, no, we also know that it's really because of our DNA that we live 100, 200, 400 years, or only 2 or 3 years like rats. So if we can tweak the DNA just to live 2 centuries in place of one, we have that. After that, we will have 1 century to find another solution to live another century. So
Exactly.
for me, the future is the nicest future for me is probably gene therapy, but it's not for tomorrow.
Yeah, gene therapy is really exciting. And I personally believe as long as this civilization doesn't destroy itself, this human civilization, we will eventually solve the human aging problem. I just quite frankly want it to happen sooner rather than later, because this is my longevity spaceship here. I want this to be real. I want to travel the stars, with you, Didier, to fantastic places. But
you are younger than me, so you have more chance to reach it. But yeah, of course.
Well, I did want to mention Hydra. Hydra is a multicellular species I always bring up, which, the consensus currently by scientists is that it does not succumb to senescence, so it doesn't biologically age.
Yes.
It also has very interesting regenerative capabilities of like regenerating limbs and it's asexual, but it also can be sexual reproduction sometimes. It's just a very interesting organism. I wish we could study.
Yes, so there is also the famous jellyfish Turritopsis turricula. Mm-hmm. But okay, Turritopsis turricula, it's a very specific case. In some case, they come back and they become child again, let's say, okay?
Right.
And so, for Hydra, it seems they have 2 forms, like you say, and when they are, I didn't check the last time, but normally when they are reproducing sexually, they don't have a kind of a biological immortality. So it's very okay. And you have a few animals who have no brains, let's say, no neural system, and these animals maybe they don't age. But okay, it's so different from vertebrates that it seems that maybe corals, for example, don't age, maybe sponges don't age, or at least they can live for thousands of years. But the biological difference between these animals and animals with a brain is really big, with a real brain.
Definitely. So Didier, just kind of winding down here, what are some kind of final thoughts that you want to leave the audience with? And also, how can people get in touch with you? Should they send you a friend request or a LinkedIn request, email you, go to Heals, all the above? How do people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so my name is my email address is the classical one, gmail.com, after my first name and last name. The organization Heals, that's heals.org, it will be online. Since 10 years, there is a monthly news brief called La Mort de la Mort. It's also the title of a work of José Cordero and David Wood, just coming out, by the way. And this newsletter is now available in French, English, and Dutch, so you can choose your language to subscribe. Also on the website, and I'm always open to meetings, and I always answer to emails, especially with people who disagree with me. It's always interesting. But even if you agree, and. What could I say more? Yeah, the mystery for me is not why you, Brent, and a few people are interested in this domain, the mystery is why there are so many people who are not interested in this domain, and how can we convince them? But okay, this is kind of I was speaking a little bit about the psychological aspects, yeah, and how also to create, kind of general opinion about this, yeah, how maybe, like you were saying, convince rich people, you know, they like sometimes to give money, so why not for this great general goal, useful goal.
Yeah, I have a few really quick thoughts on that, Didier. So when it comes to wealthy people, extremely wealthy people who have especially made the wealth on their own and not have it inherited, typically they don't like giving money away because they've invested that money or earned that money from like building the company. So they want to see a very clear way of a return on investment for their money for a lot of these people. So we could be getting close to a point where it's much closer to being obvious that we're going to either solve the human aging problem or just slowly reverse things. We should talk about biological aging clocks, DNA methylation clocks that Steve Horvath has pioneered. So if we can get the billionaire class to understand that, then we could have the floodgates opening. Clearly, we're in a different venture capital investing standpoint in biotechnology and aging research than we were even just 5 years ago, 2015, 2016. So I could see those floodgates kind of opening. And then as far as like your first question, I personally think that there's just the media, you know, is failing us. Governments are currently failing us, not informing the public of where we currently are on the science of human aging. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing to try and partner with Leaf and my YouTube channel in any way I can to get this information out. So it is frustrating though, but we're in just a little snapshot of time here in 2021. It could change really quickly. So that's why I'm trying to stay optimistic and keep fighting. What do you think about those things?
Yes, like I said, for me, the first goal is more, let's say, public organizations, because, of course, billionaires are important, but also there is, for me, it's important that when there are medical progress is available for everybody as soon as possible. And let's say if it is organized by public institutions, the chance is bigger. That's one aspect. And I'm not totally sure that, I don't think actually that let's say the press is trying to avoid this subject more than the general people in the street. You know, all people and all organizations and all media, but it's global. They don't think enough about it, and maybe we can change it. We are trying. I don't know how many years, but I'm trying 10 years. And we'll keep trying, and sometimes you don't know why things are starting, but that's for sure that each small work for this is helping. It's also for sure that the community is kind of growing. Okay, but there are also things. If I may say something, okay, we are progressing very fast for many things. We don't progress. And that's one of the reasons I'm doing this with rats. We don't progress concerning the maximal lifespan at the moment.
Yes.
And to go there further, we really need a medical breakthrough, like gene therapy, or maybe like this blood, but I don't think so, but I hope, and so on. Or maybe nanotechnology.
And Didier, on that note, from my understanding, the main reason why the rats were sacrificed in Harold Katcher and Yuvon Research's work, and the main reason why they killed the rats, is because it's very expensive to keep them alive.
No. It was to know exactly what is the metabolism. I mean, keeping rats alive. That was why I was so let's say thinking that they. Okay, once that's to be totally let's say honest, I was almost sure that he would refuse Harold, but he accepted, and I don't understand what it's not so costly, you know, to keep a rat alive. I think it's $1 a day or something like that.
Right. That's what my perception is, but I get that answer a lot from the scientific community when asked, why do you kill why don't we want to extend these rats' lifespan longer? Because to me, that seems so obvious. And so it's so frustrating that wasn't done in that research. And so that's why I commend you for focusing on that being the main focus.
Yeah, another aspect is also the what's called the publish of perish, if you wait the last rat to die, it takes a lot more time than killing the rats and to compare what's going on good and what's going on, what's the difference between the two groups.
Right. And so just really briefly, another thing that, I just touched upon, but we should definitely make sure the audience understands, which probably most people have gotten this far, understand this, but the pioneering work of Dr. Steve Horvath at UCLA over the last, 9 years or 10 years or so, since 2011 or 12, with the DNA methylation aging clocks and all the different ones that are now being developed. It's really exciting. I think most people in the scientific longevity community are excited about this. I know the Conboys are not as excited about the DNA methylation clocks. That's a whole discussion in itself, but I'm very excited about them. I think that they're incredibly accurate, specifically ones like grim age. I mean, it can predict when you're going to succumb, when you're going to die from biological aging better than any other single metric, including your chronological age. So these are the ways that we are measuring the biological age of organisms, many different mammalian organisms. So it maybe in my interview with Harold Katcher, we'll get into the details, because Steve Horvath, it should be noted, is very well respected, and he was a co-author on this study with Harold Katcher, and he is involved in the research. They're actually shipping the blood work to from the rats to Dr. Steve Horvath's lab to have them biologically tested for their age through the DNA methylation clocks. So, any other main things you wanted to add on that?
Yeah, but it's let's say it's going further with the rest of the discussion. I think these methylation clocks are very promising, very interesting, but we would know really more if we were measuring until that the death of the animals, of course, these methylation clocks, and that was not done here. That's coming back to the same question, and here we will know, because they will take blood during the experiments, and of course they will be able to check what's happening. For example, I would be curious, the rats already dead, is there something for the methylation clock specific or not? I don't know, but I'm not a specialist of these questions.
Right. Well, and hopefully we'll know a lot more with these studies right now that you funded just later on this year in 2021. I think we'll know a lot more towards the end of the year on how this is progressing, because the rats from Harold Katcher's research, showed 54% age across the average of, I think, the 5 different organs that they studied. Unfortunately, the hypothalamus was the least at 11%, but some of them, the liver, the kidneys showed, I think, like 70% biological DNA methylation clock age reversal. So that's really exciting stuff. Didier, let's end it here, unless there's any. Why don't you share some closing thoughts with us?
Thanks. That was great interview. Let's see you again in a few days and other times also.
Yep. Make sure you sign up, register for the February 11th webinar. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you in the next video.